Good morning, BBH. Oh, I love my signal getting worse. That's always fun to watch my signal just go down and down and down, like my will to live sometimes with this cast. Love them completely, though. How's everyone doing? I see hi, Alex. Hi, Tay. Hi, Steph. Hi, Elise. Good morning to you all. Hopefully, my connection gets better. And if not, then it won't. We have a lot, but not a lot to talk about today. Max did allude to my 3-page agenda, but 2 of those pages is utter chaos. So it's actually not as much as everyone thinks it is. So don't worry. It'll be over in honestly 40 minutes because I'll make sure of it. Joining me to talk a lot of shit, but mostly I'll be talking all the shit because he's the nicest person on the prod panel that I know. It's Mitchell Stokes.
It's true. I lied yesterday. I lied yesterday. I wasn't going to come, but here I am.
Here we are.
I'm quite literally a shell of a man after watching yesterday's events unfold. And I feel like the best way to get over that is to talk about it. So I decided to show up.
Honestly, if you're feeling sad, go to therapy, talk to someone about it. Because honestly, it's the best medicine right now. Because yesterday we all threatened to log off of Discord, and honestly, maybe we should have.
You know what though? I can't lie. I was on the edge of my seat.
Oh, same. I had no fucking idea what was happening.
I was on the edge of my fucking seat yesterday, and as frustrating as it was to watch unfold, I can't say that I wasn't entertained. So
I was this cast. I was glued to my seat for Lauren and Tony. Come on, give me a literal fucking break. 2 people who don't have any influence in the game. This vote out means nothing in the grand scheme of things. Whoever stayed was gonna be on the same side. It really doesn't change anything. But bitch, I was fucking eyes not leaving my computer screen.
Yeah, it's funny because it was one of those weird situations where there are people in the game who wanted to keep both people, like Michael, Sam. They didn't want to lose either of these people, and so then they're having to face this choice of who is best for my game, which is a very hard decision to make. I had to make it in BBH10 when Maddie and Sarah were sitting on the block. It's such a hard choice to make. And then on the flip side, you have other people who are assuming what they'll do and then trying to kind of make them string both their allies out to dry. And it was a very complicated whirlwind of things yesterday. And it was it was fun, but also not fun, but also wild. It was so many things.
There's a lot of things going on. And most of this agenda takes place over the course of 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah.
It is not a day's worth of literally most things we're about to talk about 3 hours. And they're all I'm exhausted, I'm going to bed. I'm well, yeah, you should be fucking exhausted because you ran a marathon in 2 hours and we're wow, that was hard. I'm well, don't do it next time.
Well, to be fair, that is if you're a good runner, that's a decent
yeah, that's
2 hours is normal.
Yeah, just normal. That's not my forte, okay? But I wasn't growing up watching fucking Batman and Robin. For people who get that reference, thank you. For those who don't, Google it. I had a fucked up childhood, okay? We're moving on. Oh, Lord. Alrighty. Our first bullet point. Oh, man. We've already talked about it. It happened literally live during yesterday's morning tea. Michael Brady was determined to get Samuel Foser out of the game if it's the last thing he fucking did. And it might be the last thing he fucking does in this game, depending on how today goes. He wanted to take an opportunity. 2 of his allies are on the block next to Foser. So he starts pushing the idea of 2 sides to the house. It is the people who stay up late and play board games, they're a side. And then anybody else who doesn't do that, you're on my side.
And he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Not wrong for about 2 or 3 more rounds, and then I think shit will change. But right now, he's right. Work, go off, and He's counting the votes, and I mean, counting the wrong votes, I'll tell you that much. And thinks Gabby's a crucial vote. So he decides to literally tell her everything. And as he is telling her everything, Gabby is quite, I mean, she's not literally copying and pasting, but it literally is like, he's like calling her and she goes, hey, hold on. I'm going to mute for a second. And then adds Foser as a 3-way call. And he's just sitting there listening, getting everything like directly from the mouth of Michael. Cause literally she is, as he is saying, yeah, I want to get rid of Foser. Hey, Foser, Michael wants to get rid of you. Oh, he says there's two sides to the house. It says you're with these people. Yep. Oh, and he's going to target these people to get their votes to take you out today. Like, it literally is just a transfer directly to Foster.
It was so wild. And like, I mean, like, the thing with like Gabby and Foser of it all right now is like the only person benefiting from this relationship is Foser. Absolutely. Gabby's literally getting nothing from him in return, and yet she's just like willingly like throwing all this information to him, and it makes no sense for the type of player that I know Gabby to be. And so I forget who said it yesterday in the prod chat, but like, you know, a lot of us are Gabby's friends on the team, and it's like hard to watch her just like absolutely just submit herself to Foser for what? Like for like, you know, like I get that they're friends and I get that, you know, like they trust each other, but like he's not giving you anything back. Why are you just like blindly following him? I mean, and even to like jump forward to the vote, like Michael is literally like, hey, what do you want to do? And she's like, Sam, she's like, Foser, alert. Am I voting out Tony or am I voting out Lauren? And it was like, girl, make up your own choice. Like,
yeah, she's playing this very passive game right now. And I've never actually watched her in a vote him out style game. I've only ever watched her in Subversion. So I don't know what the move is for her and like when she decides to turn it up, if ever. I don't know. But yeah, like Foster, the only thing he's doing for her is like he's gonna fight for her to stay, but like you're not on the block right now, girl. And Foster has told you that he doesn't really care who goes today, so like it doesn't matter. But I mean, hey, Foster's all the better for it. He will gladly take all the intel he can get. So
but now they've like manufactured this like weird world where like Gabby could potentially take a lot of heat for like the events of yesterday. That was like all Foser. I keep calling him Sam for some reason. All Foser of like him, like all this like extraness that he was doing for no reason, and like now Gabby's potentially going to take the heat for it. And
absolutely, and kind of iconic, honestly. I mean, Foster and Ashley were annoying for 3 hours, but as it played out, kind of iconic with how it ultimately
the way that they like, and I know we'll talk about this more in depth, but the way that they got what they wanted, but in the most ass backwards way, but that was also a shocking surprise to them that they,
but also like, intentional, like it was an intentional randomness chance.
Yeah, it was so wild.
Literally, they're like, we're intentionally doing this, knowing it might not work out, and if it works out, we're kind of going to be shocked that it worked out, but it's intentional. Like literally how it worked out was so perfect for them, but not in the way that they thought it would work out. But you know what? Whatever. Work. This ultimately this Michael Brady fuck up doesn't really do anything for the day. I mean, Foster it does want to take Michael out, but trust me, there's plenty of other things that happen later on in the day that fuck up Michael's game. AKA Tony Ross.
Honestly, I'm starting to feel bad for him because this man is literally breathing and everybody is like losing their fucking mind
down his neck.
Like, they're literally like with a blade to his throat. Like,
I mean, did Michael do all of the things that he is getting in trouble for? Yes. But like, are people like extraordinarily mad at him? Yes. Like they're mad at him for playing the game.
Right. Well, and the thing is that like this with Michael, like the stuff that he's getting in trouble for, like post the eviction, he couldn't even control that. That had nothing to do with him. Like, but like it was in like all day yesterday where people were like, well, we just assumed that Michael is voting out Tony or is voting to keep Tony. So like I'm not even gonna ask him. I'm not even going to try and pretend. I'm not even going to pretend to care what this man is doing because he's probably saving Tony. So, like, screw him and let's just count his vote as a number for that. And it was like, he was just sitting there like, anybody gonna try? Anybody gonna pretend that they want to like play this game with me at all? And I feel bad for players that get in that situation because like, I think he is playing. I think he showed yesterday that he is a very flexible player. Between the call with Frankie where he like was told that Daniel was trying to get him backdoored, and between yesterday like making a very active choice to keep Lauren. I feel like he's showing a great amount of flexibility in his gameplay. The problem is that nobody's open to letting him play that game with him. They're just icing him out so badly.
Yeah, and that's the thing is people know that when he saved Tony with the veto, it was so much more about making Frankie show cards than it was about saving Tony. It did not matter. He was saying he told it at least to his allies, and I feel like that's somewhat disseminated because I know Keisha brought it up to Karthik yesterday. Like, it wasn't about Tony. It never was. It could have been anyone on that block, and it wouldn't have mattered. He wanted to make Frankie show his cards. That was the only important thing about that day. I mean, he would have saved Gabby had he thought. I mean, had he decided to go that way. It had nothing to do with Tony at all. It was all about fucking up Frankie. So, and that I don't think anyone invested the time to try and like get that from Michael. And had they realized that, they would have thought very differently about how yesterday went.
And part of it is Michael's fault for like, I'm not going to tell anybody what I'm doing. I'm not going to even like make an attempt to explain it afterwards. Like, I really don't feel like I saw him telling a lot of people like, here was my reasoning for doing what I did. So I think people think that he's, rightfully so because of that behavior, are like, well, why would we like ask him? Why would we try and figure it out ourselves? That's kind of his information to give. So, but yeah, it's just a shame for Michael because, I mean, you were right yesterday. Your bet with Lee, like, girl, Lee is smoking a joint yesterday morning before
quite literally. He's lost his damn mind. What I tell you. I mean, but we'll see. I mean, comp wins can go the way that they fall, and maybe he'll end up being right. But right now, Michael Brady pre-jury is feeling real good. My bet looking real nice, let me tell you. And he's now we'll get to it, but he now has a very strong ally who honestly was my top pick to win this HOH competition. And he is like, nope, I want out of it. Karthik wants nothing to do with this HOH because he knows if he wins, the house is going to make him nominate Michael Brady. And he knows that he will not do it, and that's bad for his game. So, like, the one person who I thought, oh, fuck, I think this is Karthik's game to lose. Karthik's like, I'm out. Like,
Smart on Karthik. I mean, Karthik is playing so well, continues to play so well. I mean, some people are putting pieces together a little bit and, like, kind of clocking the fact that he's telling people different things about the vote specifically and what ultimately, Keisha was pissed at him last night.
Hello.
Mother has arrived.
Hey everyone. How y'all
Call me
doing?
mother.
Call me mother.
Call me mother. We're just talking shit.
I came here right when I didn't think I had a meeting, and now I got a notification saying I have one in 15 minutes. But I'm here for 15 minutes, and then I'll join after.
Period.
Well, talk your shit then. Talk your shit.
Talk your shit. We're about to hop into the vote.
All I have to say, what did I say already?
We're just talking about Michael mostly, about like how he kind of got iced out yesterday, and but he kind of did it to himself, but also he doesn't deserve it, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah, I think so. I'll just say I don't really have shit to talk. So much shit happened that I need to go through each event and talk the shit regarding each event, if that makes sense.
No, it was a lot yesterday.
It was too much.
Let's just Yeah, you go.
Let's just get into it. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Let's just keep going then. Yeah.
Yeah, like despite Karthik told Michael that like, hey, Foster ain't going anywhere. Like Karthik put out feelers and no one was biting. Madison, Sam, Gabby, Keisha, Ashley, Preston, Frankie, Judy, all of them are like not vibing with that move, Karthik. So take that elsewhere. Like it's not a no, it's a maybe later.
Well, and
to Michael.
Karthik's spinning a little bit of a,
he didn't try either.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like
he was just like, hey, how are you feeling about the noms? And they go,
yeah,
Tony or Lauren. He goes, great. That's all I needed. Like, he didn't say Foster's name. Great. No one's interested.
Yeah,
no one's interested.
He didn't once say, hey, I'm trying to make a move on Foster. Are you down?
He didn't fucking try. Not a damn chance that man tried. But he knew he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it didn't matter because Foster won the veto handedly. He beat everyone, crushed everyone. I mean, Michael Brady could have won it had he had his computer, but didn't.
I think he might have. I honestly think he might have won it if he had his computer. I think Michael would have won it.
Yeah, but who knows? But that brings us, I mean, we have 3-4 hours of people trying to figure out what are we doing between Tony and Lauren because there's no renom, as Foster would take himself off the block as the carousel nominee. And now we get to talking. Initially, out the gate, things seem in favor of Lauren. The target seems to be shifting to Tony because he is Brady's person. Sorry, I have something in my hand. Brady's person. And Foster is leading that charge, at least that element of it being like, he's Brady's person. He's going to do it with Brady, even though Lauren literally doesn't acknowledge me at all. Tony is Michael's person. I want to get rid of him. And then you have people like Keisha and Judy and Gabby who all have connections with Tony more than they do Lauren. And definitely want Tony to stay as well. I mean, Gabby's telling everyone what they want to hear, but deep down she wants to save Tony. And then Lauren starts off her campaign way earlier than Tony does. I'm not sure what Tony and Tony was playing another game, so I'm not sure if like that was playing a factor into it.
In Aruba in his mind.
I'm not sure what he was doing.
He was dancing over there.
That's true.
But like.
Yeah, Lauren had a great
start.
Like early afternoon, like 3 Eastern-ish, she got on a call and really locked down the support of Karthik and Preston, which I think ultimately paid a lot of dividends for her because they were like for the vote in the third round, they were lock solid, like in her corner. Like Karthik was playing both sides, like to hear people out, but ultimately at the end of the day, I think he was always voting to save Lauren, unless he found out it was going to be like 11-0 or whatever. So, she really did a great job on those calls, locking them down and affirming to them that she wanted to play the game with them and wanted to work with them. And I thought she handled them really well. I want to see, I'm excited that we're going to get to see Lauren, the revamp here, as she's moving forward in this game. And I hope she really sticks with this, like, I'm gonna really fuck shit up and I'm here to play and I'm gonna put in the time. I really hope she sticks to that because she's very endearing on calls. She's very fun energy. You can tell that she's like excited. At first I didn't think she was like having fun. And now I'm really starting to see that she's bought in. She's like, she's here now. She's like really like understands. And so I thought she did a great job yesterday in her campaign. I think the foolishness of others is why it ultimately ends up being a 6-5, but what do you do?
Yeah, she came through.
Truly, it should have been more.
I was like really impressed with how Lauren campaigned for herself. It was just like, it was so interesting to see a newbie navigate that so well. And you also have 2 newbies up against each other in Tony and Lauren. And it's just leaps and bounds better than how Tony campaigned. And I think if Tony would have stayed, it would have been a lot of to do with other people's like own agenda and not because of Tony. It would have been much less, I guess, what's the word? Worse to see the payoff of. I don't know the word to encapsulate that, but I love Tony. That's coming from a Tony stan. You all know that. So I was sad to see him go, but I'm happy to watch Lauren stay, and I'm excited to see what this kind of catapults her to do in the game. I think
She-
she's gonna make a deep run after this.
Yeah, she took a lot of notes from like the first 2 evictions and how like Marcus and Daniel and Gabby all handled their campaigns, and she kind of like took pieces of all of them and was like, here's what I'm gonna do, here's what I'm not gonna do, you know, and like she did a really great job of even like she was telling people like, I'm not gonna beg people for votes that I know have no reason to keep me. Like, I'm not gonna beg Keisha for her vote. But she did try. She got on a call with Keisha and she said, I really want to stay here. If you would give me your vote, I would really appreciate it. And there we go. Like she didn't like promise Keisha anything, but she didn't make unnecessary promises. Is what
Keisha being iconic, being like, "Here's my advice for future games for you," aka, "Bye, girl.
Drag
Toodles.
her. Yeah.
See ya." So funny to me. That call was so fucking iconic. Like, here's my advice for you when you play other games in the future, because you're done in this one.
Yeah,
see you at the reunion.
Keisha was a tad stubborn yesterday, and I'm sure we'll get to it, but like didn't really play very flexible game yesterday, and I was kind of confused about that.
And I can't blame her because she played nicely to allow the house to let Gabby stay when she wanted Daniel to stay.
Right.
And so it felt like she wanted the group to owe her. And that's a great segue. Here we go. Lauren campaigned hard early and very much on the apology tour of like, I'm sorry that I haven't been super active. I'm learning how active I need to be. I'm new to this. And that really resonated with people. Versus Tony, who is like blatantly typing people being like, you owe me the respect to telling me where you're voting. Like,
can I at least get the respect?
and people are like, girl, the voting window's not for another 3 hours. I don't know what I'm doing yet. Like, I will get back to you. But like asking me 3 hours before the vote is not the move. Like Sam Lechner let him have it. Sam was like, Tony, let me think. I will give you the respect of letting you know. But blowing me up and tagging me and all these things is not the move. Like, and it started to annoy people.
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Oh yeah. It started to annoy a lot of people. A lot of people were bringing it up, being like, Tony's like just hounding me for my vote, and I don't know where my vote's at. I don't know what to tell him. Like, it's not like the vote's in 5 minutes. I've got a couple hours to think about it.
And that is the hard.
Pitching.
It is the hard thing about. It is the hard thing about Big Brother. A lot of times you don't get to really make the choice. Like there's not a lot you can do to save yourself ultimately. It does happen in the hands of other people, and that's frustrating. But like the more you like continue to message people and like say, I need an answer about what you're doing, like you give me the respect of telling me what you're gonna do. It just is a little bit of a turnoff for people because they don't either they're voting you out and they don't want to tell you because that's uncomfortable, or they are legitimately trying to figure it out and you're you're being annoying. So
and they weren't wrong. And that's kind of where we're at. We've got Lauren pitching from the like, please, I'm new, I'm trying to figure it out. And she has people like Preston helping her craft some of her statements to Foser specifically, because she knows she fucked up with Foser by not talking to him all week, and she knows she needs his vote. And then you've got Tony, who's getting help from Judy and Keisha, both helping craft his own pitch, on top of Keisha going around being like, y'all are so scared about Tony and Michael, and for what? It ain't that serious. Stop. Like, and I think that comes from the point of Keisha let people keep Gabby, and I feel like she's like, I scratched your back, now you're gonna scratch mine. I want Tony to stay, and us as a group of 4 should work together. I caved last week, now you caved this week. I get what I want, especially when all of them are like, I don't really care who stays and who goes. And then give Keisha what she wants if you don't care. But they cared. That's the issue. They did have a preference, and that's what creates possibly.
I just wanted to say bye, but I hope you guys I'll hopefully come on to talk more shit. Okay, bye.
Please. But that's the thing, is that people weren't honest all day today in terms of what they wanted. Like Keisha's being told in Beautiful Disasters that Ashley, Frankie, and Foster don't care. And Keisha's like, well, I care, so vote my way. Last week, y'all cared, and I voted your
Mhm.
way, so vote my way this time. But they had a preference. They wanted Tony to go. They wanted Lauren to stay because they did care about the Michael-Tony duo. And that's the thing, is no one communicated that.
And it's like, it's such a frustrating thing to watch because and maybe this is just my perspective, but like these early votes, when you don't care and it doesn't matter either way, are all about building trust and are all about you're building your social capital, and your word is your bond, and what you say matters, and like the promises that you're making to people will come back to pay dividends for you. And so when you're playing shady as fuck on round 3, it's just so hard to watch people do that because, like, as Jessica T coined in BBH18, it's a game, it's the pre-jury, it's laughable. Like, why are you not being truthful with the people that you say you want to play the game with?
Yeah.
Like, because like in the end of the day, even if you told Keisha, we really want to vote out Tony, and she's like adamant, like, no, I want to keep Tony, then at least you were honest and you talked about it and you built trust you built open communication with each other. But now it's just like there's so much of this, like, what was happening behind closed doors that I feel like if I was Keisha, I would be like, now what the hell? Like, can I actually trust these people who say, that are saying they want to be in an alliance and play the game with me? Like, how do I trust that that's still the truth,
Exactly.
And
shit ain't adding up. And that's why she was pissed.
At Karthik.
Matt Karthik.
She let Karthik have it, honey.
She hopped on call and she goes, here's why Lauren should not be here. Explain yourself as to why my logic makes no sense. And Karthik was just bumbling. He's like, it was
bad.
She was not. She's like, you tried it, honey. You tried it.
And it's like hard because the vote ultimately was 6-5, right? So every single vote mattered, right? So then it's like, so when you're you had your agenda and you wanted this thing and then it didn't happen, then your initial thought is, well, who are all the people who told me that they were down to do this? And why did you not do what you said you were going to do? Karthik, why did you not do what you said you were going to do? Michael, who... Yeah, well, that was weird too. Like,
well, he did tell Keisha he wanted to save Tony.
That's true,
and that's on you, my love. You did.
Yeah.
So, but again, she never went back and confirmed.
Right. She was busy, and she didn't have time to reconfirm everything. But
because at the time, Michael was still torn, so like he wasn't lying, but he also wasn't telling the truth. But like Keisha never went back. She just assumed, we're good. I have Michael's vote.
Yeah.
But never went back. So she was upset with him too, but really more at Karthik.
Yeah.
Because she knows Michael's a liar. She trusted Karthik and felt very burned by him. Yeah. So, lols.
Can we jump into the Ashley Foser of it all? I got 15 minutes to.
Yep, here we go. Like, we've got Lauren campaigning. Tony is throwing Lauren under because Lauren literally told him that Judy and Ashley are people she doesn't talk to. So Tony's running around with that. On top of that, Michael and Sam have met up and they're like, you know what? We had to make a decision and we think Lauren's better for our game. So that's what we're going to do tonight. That's what we're going to do. Like, we have to make a decision and we're going to keep Lauren. We think she's better. Now let's get to Foser, Ashley, and Frankie. We've already alluded to it, mostly Foser and Ashley being like, we want Tony to stay or Tony to go, but we don't want to piss off Keisha because that's what she wants. She wants Tony to stay. So how can we... Because they're in a group of 4 and Judy is very actively telling everyone, I'm keeping Tony. Gabby, and they know Gabby is keeping Tony, even though she's telling everyone everything. She's telling Preston what she wants to hear. She's telling Keisha what she wants to hear. She's just lying out the wazoo. But Foser knows what she has done because Gabby told her, hey, I have to go to a basketball game. Here's what I'm doing. So Foser and Ashley are trying to crunch the numbers so that they can get Tony out, but also hide in a 6-5 vote where all 5 of them can be like, oh, well, the 5 votes were Judy and the Beautiful Disasters. So they're trying to craft this, like, quite literally nearly impossible plan.
It was so wild.
Of getting what they want and not pissing off Keisha. And that's their whole idea.
But I don't give them credit for accomplishing that goal, because they were so shocked, and they
had misplaced pieces.
they
thought
didn't
certain
have
things were
all
happening.
because they've refused to talk to people, because nobody gave Michael the time of day. Nobody knew what Michael was actually thinking except for Karthik and Lauren and Sam and Madison to an extent, right? So like everybody's just assuming that this is what's going on with Michael, and so they're going off faulty information because they refuse to communicate with people. And I don't even think that they were trying to because I don't really think it was intentional at all. I think they fell into it ass backwards, because at one point Foster did say like, well, do you think we could like vote out Tony and then like try and blame it on other people? And they were like, that just doesn't, I don't think that we could get away with it, essentially. And they wouldn't have. But then they're thinking like, okay, so the vote is going to be 7-4. And they knew most of the pieces, but they really underestimated Michael, obviously. And so they're like, you know what? For shits and gigs, let's like, Ashley, you vote out Tony.
You vote out Tony because I know where Gabby's voting, so then you can at least claim Gabby's vote, because Keisha doesn't trust Gabby, so it won't matter what Gabby says. And they're like, Ashley can claim Gabby's vote.
Right, because they're like, we don't really know what's really gonna happen. Like, what if somebody throws a hinky and then it potentially could be like a 6-5 to evict Tony? So we think Ashley, you vote out Tony, and we'll bank on a 6-5 to save
and we'll see what
Tony.
Happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Like, but we think it's gonna ultimately end in saving Tony. Like, girl,
it was a mess.
Foster, you want Tony out. Frankie, you want Tony out. Ashley, you don't care. Like, why are we doing things against our best interest? Like, in a vote, like, it makes no sense. They're torn, right? Because they have Keisha on one hand and they have Preston on the other hand, who both feel very strongly. And so they're like torn, and I understand that completely. But at some point, you really have to just make the choice to play for yourself. This vote could have been easily 7-4, 8-3 to evict Tony if people had just voted in the way that they wanted to vote. And I get it, you have to manage your social connections, but when you're literally about to be in a 6-person group chat with people who feel very strongly, and now you're going to piss off one side of that, like, because you refuse to communicate at the end of the day, they refuse to communicate with them in the way that they should have. And so now they're like in this really shitty situation, and then they come up with this asinine plan and fall ass backwards into getting the result they wanted. It was infuriating to watch. And I was just like watching the votes come in, and I was like, Ashley, please, for the love of God, vote out Tony. Please. Like, I need, like, for the love of everything, like, this is so ridiculous. because we know that Michael's voting to evict Tony. We see it coming. So we know that, like, they're going to technically get what they want, kind of, but they're also going to vote in the minority. It also made zero sense to me why they would just want to, like, expose the fact that they have a voting block that is, like, pushing to keep Tony. Like, that was such a big mistake yesterday for them, I feel. And because it really set up a lot of alarm bells for Sam and for Michael and Karthik and Madison, and they are going to be on the hot seat in the next couple of rounds. So it was weird.
Yeah, because the thing is Gabby is telling Foser and then Ashley by telephone that, like, Michael is saying that Sam is a guaranteed vote in his corner. So they're thinking, and that also adds to the issue. They're like, oh, well, Sam and Michael are voting to keep Tony. So that's another vote to factor into the situation, which is not what they actually want. So, like, that also pushed Ashley. Like, we need to throw a vote to make up for the fact that Sam is also voting with Michael. When in all reality, like, so here's the thing, I broke it out. So at this point, how Foster and Ashley are seeing this is that the people who are pro Tony are Judy, Keisha, Michael, Sam, and Gabby. They know deep down she is pro Tony, even though she's telling everyone what they want to hear in other chats. The people who are additionally Karthik saying whatever they want, to anyone.
Right.
Karthik's playing all the sides. And they think the only pro Lauren people are Madison and Preston. And so they're like, oh, okay, well, if Foster, Frankie, and Ashley, if we all vote to save Lauren, then it's 5-5, and it depends on fucking Karthik to break the tie. So maybe that's an option. But in all actuality, the only pro-Tony people are Judy, Keisha, and Gabby. They're sitting in the middle trying to figure out what the fuck they're doing as a trio. But everybody else is saving Lauren. Madison, Preston, Sam, Michael, Karthik, they're all saving Lauren. When in reality, they think it's way more in favor of Tony staying, which is not what they want. But actually, it's literally way the opposite. Everyone wants to save Lauren.
Wild.
But they have misread the situation because they just assumed where Michael was voting. They just and therefore they then assumed where Sam was voting because of what Michael was saying. So it's way closer than they actually think it is because no one's communicating. People like Karthik and Gabby, and then I would throw in Foster and Ashley as well, are like, well, Karthik and Gabby are just matching whoever they're talking to. Oh, you want to save Tony? Me too. Foster and Ashley are being honest in the sense of, I don't know, which that doesn't help people. Saying I don't know, but then also adding comments like, well, I really do like Tony. Then they run and go, okay, so you're voting to keep Tony. Great. And then he's telling Preston, no, I really like my call with Lauren. Great. So you're voting to save Lauren. People just thought that they had votes that weren't actually there. So when it's coming to crunch time, you've got Keisha being like, oh no, 7-4, Tony's staying.
Yeah.
And Michael's like, huh? And Preston's like, oh no, it's like 8-3, Lauren staying. And they're like, huh? Like shit ain't adding up. They're like, how are we so off that we have 7-4 and 8-3 in opposite directions? Like this house was in shambles for like the 30 minutes leading up to the vote.
And you know what
the fuck is happening?
Yeah. And it just ruins your social capital.
Yeah.
Like your word now, like people aren't going to be able to trust Karthik. People aren't going to be able to trust what you say when it comes to the vote. Like Foster, Ashley, people are not going to trust that you're on their side, especially Foster, who like tried to smooth things over with Preston like right before the voting was due, was like, hey babe, just want to let you know I decided that I need to evict Tony. Or I need to evict Lauren. And Preston was like, girl, what the fuck? Like
at the last minute. And then Michael is coming to Preston being like, yeah, I'm going to vote to evict Tony. And he's like,
that
wait,
was wild.
What the fuck? Like at the last minute, Preston's now losing his mind. He's like, hold on. These two votes that I was the most certain of are now flipping. What's happening? Do I need to flip? And like we're sitting here being like, oh my God, it's 6-5. One person flips and it changes the whole outcome of this vote. We're like, oh my fucking God.
Well, and we were waiting. We were waiting on Michael's vote, and we were like, because the way we handle it, this is no riggery at all. Like the minute that we get the votes are locked. Once all the votes are done, it's locked. So we're sitting there knowing that it's 5-5, waiting for Michael to vote, and we're like, we are expecting Michael to evict Tony. So we're like, okay, as it stands right now, it'll be 6-5 to evict Tony. Then all of a sudden, Foster's bitch ass is like, hey, Preston. And I was like, Carl, if you don't
pull the cord.
If you don't turn off the fucking Wi-Fi right now, like
Preston's like, fuck, what do I do? Do I flip? And we're like, oh my God. We're like, this.
And I was like,
if
Preston decides to flip his vote, and then Michael votes, and then it's 6-5 to evict Lauren, I will literally throw the fuck up. But then Preston, thank God, was like, you know what? I've already voted. I already told Tony I'm voting him out. Let me just stick to my guns and we'll see what happens. And we'll recover tomorrow. And thank God, because not that I feel like that sounds mean, but like, I just really feel like Lauren has so much more to offer than what Tony was going to offer us going forward. And so that was the result I wanted ultimately. And if Tony had stayed, great for him. But I just feel like Lauren she's got, and I think she's not going to be targeted. I don't think Lauren is going to be targeted. No, I don't think she's going to be targeted.
Because ultimately, we get a 6-5 Tony vote out, and Michael and Karthik are labeled as the flippers at the end of the day, because that's what Keisha wants to blame everyone for. Because her plan in her mind worked in the sense of it was 7-4 in my mind, but now Karthik and Michael flipped, which then flips it to the vote count that we get. And Tony on his way out goes, "Don't trust Michael," and he told me that Preston, Foser, and Frankie are together because Frankie offered both of them safety, and they were the only two people to be offered safety during Frankie's HOH, and then leaves the server. Bitch.
Iconic.
Frankie, Foser, and Preston are pissed at Michael. They're livid at him because of this. And Michael's apologetic, being like, "This is what I was told. I told Tony in confidence. I'm sorry that I said this." But it's showing to Preston, Foser, and Frankie, you don't want to work with me. You're spreading shit that isn't necessarily untrue. I mean, it's true, but it's not like, it wasn't just those two. Like, Frankie knew who he was nominating. It wasn't just these three people. Yeah. And Michael's like, "I'm sorry that I did that, but those three want him out ASAP. They want him gone yesterday."
My favorite thing was that Tony left the server before Josh even posted the video. Like, what if he had stayed? What if he posted that comment and yeeted himself out of the server before the votes were even posted?
Truly.
Like, nobody, like, he said that and left, and people were like, have the votes been read yet?
Yeah. Literally, what a fucking mess. What a fucking mess that was. I mean, that's...
And on that note, I gotta run. But
yes, I'll wrap it up. There's nothing else to talk about, though.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Oh, not end the broadcast. Leave the studio.
No, we're good. I'll wrap it up. Dead. Well, that's basically the end of day. What is this? 8? Jesus fucking Christ! What a mess. That's the end of day 8. I mean, you've got the 6-5 vote to send out Tony, where Karthik and Michael are the ones being blamed for the flip, when in all reality, had Ashley voted where she had promised she would have voted, Lauren wouldn't be here. Tony still would be. So really, Ashley's the true flipper, but obviously it was all planned all along to take credit for Gabby's vote. In the aftermath, we see, in my opinion, Keisha take the worst of this. I mean, she loses an ally in Tony, and a lot of people are very skeptical of her now. You've got Foser, who is growing skeptical of her because in round 2, people were saying that Foser was like a big push to save Gabby when he hadn't talked to anyone yet. So he was like, someone from Beautiful Disasters is telling other people that I want Gabby to stay, and I'm a big proponent of that. So he thought Keisha did it. So, Foster's telling Ashley and Frankie, we got to be careful of what we say to Keisha, and she definitely needs to be the first person to go of our group when it comes time. Additionally, there was a rumor started near the end of voting where Ashley was like, "Yeah, I'm being told that Judy, Michael, and you, Karthik, are leading the pro-Tony movement," because at the end, when everyone's thinking, "Oh, Lauren's staying like 8-3," and all of a sudden people are like, "Oh no, Tony's staying like 7-4," Ashley was telling people that like, "Oh yeah, it's Michael, Judy, and Karthik behind this." Oh, Josh is here. Hey.
I am here. I figured I'd help. Sorry, I'm still listening to you on delay.
You're good.
Oh gosh, I'm in the dark. Hold on, I'm
dead. But yeah, so Keisha's getting a lot of heat for all of this. I mean, and so Karthik gets told from Ashley. Okay, Ashley tells Preston, who tells Karthik, that the rumors are that Judy, Karthik, and Michael are the ones leading this pro-Tony movement. And Karthik goes, "Well, the only person who I was very adamant about saving Tony to was Keisha. So she'd be the only person who would be able to tell people that I was even thinking about saving Tony." So Karthik's also putting it together that Keisha's going around saying things that may or may not have been true, or at least spreading things that were told to her in confidence. So from all angles, Keisha is kind of getting caught in this web of communication with other people. So she definitely takes a huge hit in my power rankings, and I think in everyone's power rankings. No one's like going to target her per se, but I think people are watching what they say to her. And that's really like the biggest
and I think it's
aftermath.
And I think it's because she was like determined. She knew what she wanted, and she was telling a lot of people that. And because of that, like the people that wanted the contrary would like whisper those things elsewhere, like, "Oh, I actually want Lauren to stay." And so I think that kind of web of, I want this, but I want to like save face with a lot of people makes things difficult. And I think Keisha ends up on the bad end of it, but not in a way that's detrimental. Yeah.
But a lot going on. I mean, as we close out the day, some other things. So earlier on in the day, the official BGA group which typically stands for Board Game Arena, but in this game is called the Board Game Alliance, finally forms. It's the 6-sum we've been talking about for days. It is Beautiful Disasters, Keisha, Frankie, Foser, Ashley, and then adding in Preston and Jodely to make a new 6-sum. But we've got a lot of people talking about taking a big swing next round. I think a lot of people want to take out a big target. Taking out someone who is quote unquote important to the game seems to be the narrative that's going around. I think people are sick and tired of safe nominations when all this bullshit's happening in the background. I think people are like, no, people got to pay for this. I'm exhausted. I'm stressed. I'm going to take out a big threat. So I think everyone is.
You want it to be worth something, like
exactly.
And this is no shade to Tony or Lauren, but we said a lot. We said a lot yesterday that like, all right, all of this for what? Like for two people that fill a similar chess piece on the board. I think a lot of people made the right decision for themselves. I think the right decision for a lot of people came to be whether they were making
regardless
correct decisions.
Of the vote.
Exactly. is another thing. But to say like, all right, we're doing all this, we're setting all this in motion. Yeah, it's still early because it's pre-jury and pre-live night and all those things. But it would be fun to see a big swing get swung, whether it lands or not, and who knows what the wheel has in store. We've already seen a third nominee get put on the block, so like you never know what kind of chaos, if you will, can come to be because of it. But I appreciate that people are like, I watched Sam's confessional about 30 minutes ago, and she was just saying like, I know that I'm not in the greatest position, so it's maybe time to try and do something. Whatever that means, it's time to do something. So does that mean we'll be in for the best round of all time? No, we just thought that we were going to have a boring round, and we had television. So
television, Team TV from start to finish. Once the wheel chose Foser as a third nom, it was Team TV all the way through. Even when we were like, oh, well, Foser's safe, whatever, it'll be an easy vote. Color us shocked. Yeah, like who the fuck knows? On top of everyone's exhausted, people are mad, emotions are high. And now we have a competition that is going to just piss people off even fucking more in the train of thought because they're realizing, oh, people are just going to lie. People are just going to lie and lie and lie. And someone's going to end up with this HOH kind of on random chance. I mean, yes, there is some strategy in how you align the people that you have trusted. There is strategy in putting liars together on the same train. Like there is strategy to it, but in the sense of everyone's just going to lie. Like when Michael is going to lie, Sam's going to lie, Foster, Keisha, and them are going to lie to the other side. Like because Michael has cemented two sides, they're all going to lie to each other.
So in the past, and I said yesterday on T that I resolved to understand train of thought this season, and we'll see if that remains true or not. In the past, it has been blatantly obvious when one person has lied. Kadri, I believe,
ever had one person.
And so will that be the case if everyone is lying, or will it just be a mess?
I think it's going to be a mess. That's the thing, because we've only ever run this now. This is the fourth time. We've run it 15 through now, and it's only ever been one person lying. It's been Hammond, Kadri, and then Chris Yu. I don't think it's going to be, and that's the thing, that's the strategy to it, is if you put people you're confident in certain spots, you can at least try to then map out what ultimately happened. Because ultimately all you get is your score. So like if you get a score of 0, you have no clue how you arrived at that. Did you get 10 times 0? Did you get 5 minus 5? Did you get -8 plus 8? There's so many ways to get 0, but there's going to be certain people that get a very unique number where you can only get that way by doing one thing. Like if you get to 10.5, you definitely got 21 divided by 2. So now you go, okay, how the fuck did I get to 21 divided by 2? Obviously 21's on the board, but that's just an example of like, okay, how did I get there? And that's when people start to put together, okay, who am I trustful in? Who do I know they've told me the true direction? And how can I figure out who maybe lied to me, or like, how did we get here? And then put it together that way. I still think it's possible with more people lying. It's not as easy, but again, that's the strategy. You put together people in a certain order where you're confident. So if someone does lie, it's easy to figure it out. Again, I think a lot of people are just exhausted and tired from yesterday, that they're just like, you know what, fuck it, it's a crapshoot. I'm just going to put shit in a random order. When it's not a crapshoot, as a group of 4 or group of 5, you really can increase your odds of winning by putting certain people in certain orders. And if the people you're not sure about, like in their case, the BGA Alliance, when you're not sure of Michael, you're not sure of Sam, you're not sure of Karthik, put them all on the same train, but all of y'all do different iterations. So no matter what they end up deciding, one of you will likely end up with a positive result. Yeah, 4 of you will have to die for the cause of it, but like as long as one of you wins, who cares?
Right.
So,
you don't want in a game that has developed sides, you don't want fatigue to be the thing that causes your side to lose when this is a very winnable thing, or at least put the effort. I mean, I say put the effort in, and I don't mean that in a like these people are lazy. I mean, I understand that last night and this round, last 2 rounds or last 2 days were tough and stressful and a lot, but don't let that like just totally throw away the next round, because the game continues. Why put in all that work if you're going to then just be like, well, this is a crapshoot because I don't want to like fully invest myself in trying.
Yeah, and that's the issue. I'm hoping people, I mean, I extended the deadline. It's a pretty late submission. It's 7:30 tonight after how rough yesterday was. So I'm hoping people will take the time to realize that, like, yes, while it's not gameable, there is strategy to it. It is winnable, and there are ways that a bigger group on both sides, I mean, even throw in Lauren, Michael, Sam, if they want to loop in Karthik, as a group of 4, you can do a lot of damage in this game, in this challenge, I should say. Like, you can plan out things, and Karthik is the one who absolutely can think this through. So I do think the advantage does lean that way to Michael, Sam, Lauren. I do think Karthik is able to, help them strategize this. But obviously, there are too many iterations to plan for as a group of 4. You can't plan for all of the iterations of a train of liars. So it's not a for sure bet, but I do think that the beautiful disasters / plus Preston aren't taking this challenge as seriously as they should be. And that's, just the tea of the matter. Like, Keisha just made a list and called it a fucking day. She made a list and said, I'm done. And she lied to the beautiful disasters about it too. When they were on call last night, she fully lied about her list. Told them the right direction, but definitely lied about where she had people. So it should be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I think lies will still be able to be figured out. But again, after all that happened yesterday, do people care? do people care who lied to you? Because ultimately, it's going to be the same. Like, they're not going to be shocked. Like, if Foster's lied to by Michael Brady, he's not going to be shocked in the place, and vice versa. Like, people are at this point, like, anyone who voted out Lauren should not expect to receive the truth from Lauren about this challenge. Like, I think, unlike how the other challenges have worked, where Hammond, Chris Yu, and Kadri do it, it was unexpected. People were like, oh, I didn't expect you to lie to me about this. Like, that kind of hurt my feelings. I think in this challenge, because this game has established clear sides, which is odd because we've always done this challenge relatively early, except for 15. 15 was kind of late. But again, that season was fucking forever long. So it's just funny that we're still doing it early, but this cast is a much different mindset because of the game that has transpired up to this point. So it shall be interesting. I mean, I'm excited to see who ends up coming away with this, because it's going to be unknown to all of us until the last person submits their list. I mean, that's the fun thing about this. One person can fuck up this entire thing.
Right.
So I won't know who wins it until quite literally 7:30 on the fucking dot. When
so don't ask who's in the lead. We won't know.
We won't know until I have everyone's direction. I will never know who is winning and who is not winning. So do not ask, because I will not know. love you all dearly. Enjoy the day off until like 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Like, please. We have fed you plenty this weekend. We have fed you plenty. Enjoy the day off, because I imagine it'll be a pretty quiet day until then. I think the only thing that will be happening today is strategy in regards to how to play this, but that only goes so far. Looks to BBH18 when people thought they had mapped the entire thing out, gamed it, and then Chris Yu said, gonna go the other way. And you end up with the Steph Fagan HOH just by her very much intentionally trying to throw it. So you know what? Anything can happen. We love the challenge nonetheless, and it shall create some more chaos on top of the carousel of chaos. If that wasn't chaotic enough for you,
more chaos.
Chaos. Leading up to live night, which is Sunday. Yeah, so
which
stick
will
with
be
us. We got
yeah. I mean,
fun
if you're with us an hour in, I'm certainly not going to like divulge everything, but Live Night is going to look different this season than it has in the past, and we love our Live Night, and we think that we do a great job with the way it has, but we're mixing it up a little bit this season, so have that to look forward to come Sunday.
Yeah, so it'll be a fun time. I mean, Karthik still holds the mystery Live Night advantage, which definitely holds a big key into how our Live Night is changing for this season. So it'll be fun. We'll see if Karthik still holds it come Live Night or if he wills it to somebody else. Shall be fun to see. Stick with us. Fun week still nonetheless. We'll have 2 of our final pre-jury boots of the season, and we'll figure out how that plays out. But for me, for Josh, for Ricky DeBatis and Stokes, who had to leave a little bit early because work, that's garbage. Work is terrible. Everyone quit your jobs, file for unemployment, steal from the government.
It's worth it.
You heard it here first, folks. Well, that being
says from work.
says as I'm about to literally go hop into a call for work. But that's all we have. I mean, have a great day. We'll see you later tonight. And yeah. Happy Monday. Bye, everyone.
Bye.